The events of the 2015 to 2022 manga, or Japanese comic book, or a bit too graphic novel, conclude with the plan of a white-clad death cultist of turning Earth, like many plans before it, including our sun, into a burning bowl of despair. This being seen as the highest gnosis for them, directed by an out-of-this-world or even dimension and time intelligence, being thwarted when the boy born in a messianic birth rewrites it into a world of positive madness. The sun shines over the city of Las Vegas. Have you ever thought about how reviews, especially the angry internet kind, seem to have no shame? But we are all hypocrites. I am, I see. Well then, how do I critique a book by someone much more well read than me? Or someone I pestered with anonymous asks, some so deranged and provocative that they were never answered, either out of disgust or the feeling of being tired of some retard shit. Should I self-promote, lean into some Sam Hyde post-irony, and stuff my unrelated video series whose point only I get into this? Segue into saying that I try to do something different, redeeming a concept that is lowbrow and which I am embarrassingly too familiar, to make a point of the universal redemption of time and art reflecting the world dynamically, changing and redeeming one beyond just fandom obsession and rent-free advertisement. Maybe instead I should share some contrasting yet contemporary differences of me, unlike the other, never caring for Western comics. The only paperwork I ever held of superhero fare was some issue of some X-Men story, which my uncle gave to me for a reason even he would probably not remember. A reason that is only less confusing than the in media res plot I found myself in, only remembering the steel guy like blocking a laser or some shit. Indeed, I read more Simpsons comics when those got pushed here way after their expiration date, or comics in children's magazines, one even starring a victim of an international pedophile. Okay, don't wanna return to that topic, especially when the one was in the end a lot more serious. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm way more, even if at the same time not that deep, into the world of Japanese comics, or seeing them as the thing I'm trying to redeem from the obvious juvenile hole it is stuck in. Unlike the Spider-Man cartoons, which I kinda remember more out of nostalgia, and have to play up my enjoyment when talking to some of my friends who praise them, out of the anu, or better said, the real physical strife and pain they feel due to working manual labor factory jobs with no upwards mobility, and seeing childhood as the only place to escape. I will only actually defend Dragon Ball, especially the Buu Saga. Fuck you, America. So what I'm trying to say is that my lived experience, as it's already outdated to claim, will give me perspective. Especially when I actually do have the experience of kinda drawing a comic. Well, how well is debatable. And if a fan comic or unlicensed one, like when I claim at moments where I remember my disgust at the concept of fandom, should even count. Well, it does in this book. The crux of the novel is a quote-unquote 5-dimensional structure. The comic Overman 3000. For context, the book does the at first annoying, but later understandable thing of having copyright-safe knockoffs for superheroes. Batman, Ratman, Superman, Overman. At first I thought it was a sign of the author's lack of imagination. The name sounding as low effort as most parody raps, don't even try to find some good equivalent from the media franchise that they know as well as the back of the hands of their dad slapping them for being a disappointment. Okay. But then one kinda starts getting the joke. And also the joke of the whole book. But more on that later. At first it seems to simply be the reveal of both the banality and also the brevity tinily hidden beyond these names. A bat is a flying rat, after all. A disgusting vermin, not some cool edgy crusader spray painted with massacre. And more meaningfully, the Superman, well, is the Nietzsche shit, still haunting the psyche of many neurotics and wannabe neurotics. The connection of the techno-occult and bohemian art is kinda always in the background of the book. Understandably, or maybe paradoxically, because the story of Overman 3000, the licensed fan book of a weirdo pretentious man-child comic fan, at once opposes techno-fascism while embracing it, ending with death worship in the holy flame, a hyper-sigil that affected not only the whole book, but seemingly other media retracted. You know, when reviewers on YouTube or forums actually seem to think that the be-all, end-all of all analysis is listing plot holes or inconsistencies, those truly monstrous reviews, the only thing more beastly seeming to be the profile pictures and not so hidden proclivities of their worm bearers. Yet sometimes even the highest man falls on all fours. If only real losers start to bark. Man, I can't go on. Yes, sometimes plot consistencies do itch at the so popular to say lizard brain, as they do for the characters in this book, where ironically I have some meta Reddit moments. Would the chivalrous Jewish Marxist really care about the unlogicness of the situation in the comic he only works on for the cash on such level? Is it just an opportunity to expose obvious to anyone who gets it, and infinitely occluded for those who don't, words about stories not needing to be logical? Well, but that is the trick of the book, using the same Sandersonian workshop cookie cutter logic and flipping it on its head, setting up the retcons in-universe, as they say, and kinda pushing me to see the joke of this ungraphic novel. Death Stranding is a 2019 video game, which central premise is that America being so alienated that it not only broke apart after many apocalyptic events, but also is at the point where this disconnect seems to threaten the world to end more literally, or humanity at least. The Ludo narrative bullshit then are mechanics like reviving after dying in a more literal way, but that kind of fails because it's not even that consistent. Having a shared world with other players, well, if you don't pirate it like I did, and literally surviving with the help of a baby, with a more than implicit pro-life message, in all sense of the word. The protagonist and baby, both whose parentage is in question, at the end save the world from a soul explosion, threatening to consume all to reunite them all, with the nothingness that is in the end just a matter of time, with not only the connections of different weirdos saving you, but more importantly overcoming fatherlessness in the past and future. And I felt a lot more in Death Stranding's sappy melodramatic ending of a guy literally reviving a baby than this book's main thought-raising hers. Yeah, sorry. The joke of the book seems to kinda be with all the biographies of the connected characters through the few decades, reflecting the attitudes of the pulp media of the time. So we have a girl who turns to witchcraft due to hypocritical, pedophile Christians in a small bigoted town. A 2000s mumblecore Little Miss Sunshine-esque story of a mother keeping her child and raising it in a naturally vulgar, yet loving way. And the post-sincere conversions of many of the mothers and or women to status quo normalcy, a la the podcasters. That is also what I mean with ungraphic novel. It is a novel, obviously, but it also has this pulpy comic book feeling. The characters being dark and mysterious, yet kinda archetypical and surface level, if one is less charitable in one's words. And that is kind of where my fear comes back. Am I being insightful or mean? Is some of the lackey of the discussions between the characters being these try-hard name drops of their ideologies and offers the point? Or is the whole completing each sentence thing or ending the chapter in this cheesy way of calling back clumsily to the title just lack of skill? Does it matter? I get along well with my grandma. We joke around, laugh, etc. Well, except when we talk about politics. I'm too jaded by age compared to her youthful optimism. Yet one joke I had was coming up with the most passive-aggressive and self-righteous thing to say. Randomly speaking in a melodramatic tone, I forgive you. Later, after seeing how in her soap opera an estranged couple reconnects with a girl exclaiming, don't even try to apologize. That replaced 1,000 plateaus. But still even that seems as shallow as making a meta comparison yet again, as if it was still original, compared to saying, you know, the writing made me a lot more secure about my own. I write illustrated fanfics, by the way. I get it. This will be a cross-counter to end all of them, but it depends on how one looks at it. Maybe the writing actually is good, maybe mine even is. Maybe I was just being hypocritical, and the tone perfectly worked, and lifted up the cheese to mozzarella. Is it the evil eye or the good eye judging it like that? Or am I just lashing out because I felt called out in a more significant way?
Sometimes you gotta close the door to open a window.
The theme of the book in a way is the power of literature, or better said art, to change the world. Yet why this itself is art and not just quote-unquote art is because the theme actually gets explored. It's not stuck off the level of, this work is about racism because it shows how lynching people is not really nice, okay? The whole book is comparing art to the act of magic, of hyper sigils, and it isn't all that nice about how it is, because maybe all those witches and sex cult wizards got a bad rap for good reason. Basically, it plays with how much this changes reality and how much it is a magician's trick, or even if that question is relevant, if the magic either way seems to bring only bad or not really much good. Are Magnus's words about timer being everything just a way to get some Italian girl to swallow his noodle? As a cheap trick as using obvious innuendo for a quick laugh, consisting of grasping for air and no substance or even aether? Is this magic as my man-child's wanton egregore that brings death, devastation, and shit I can't say in the risk of pissing off my minimal audience? Is it as the kids in the ecologia like to mindlessly spit out cope? Was it cope? In my case, when I tried to justify making a 10-hour multi-part series with the conclusion that Sally is too similar to the anti-heroes than I want to admit. Seeing the good in all strife and all the bullshit of time, just the most immoral act of apathy and self-righteousness, of the privilege of not having to experience any real pain that would make one's tongue fall off for even suggesting something so saccharine, more sickeningly sweet than McDonald's spread after they fucked it up. Nah, cause in the end it turns out that I was right. I win, baby. But no, I was more right in the book, and that may be the real flaw. One defense of this video series that I tried to force to be more relevant than it is that it does try and show, sometimes more jokingly, others sincere, the interconnectedness of it all, of Fox's art from high and low influencing even this slowly shitty Japanese picture book, where the author may like pigtails a bit too much, and in the shadow of the me generation, which I have to say that in my opinion, that is both interesting and valuable. So I appreciate the book giving us characters that reflect the different ideological genealogies, the layers of the piece that is actually about how they interconnect, mix and even cock, to use another empty signifier, each other, creating the world of today. It is so much different and degenerated, yet endlessly the same as it ever was, all reflecting back and forth. Yet at the same time, that's why I'm kinda disappointed. In a way, does the book, the piece, the graphic novel, go further than the Oriental Pervert cartoon book? Or the soap drama, vanity project TV show Walking Simulator? Both those have the message of, well, there really isn't any god or any good, but we have each other, that's nice, and there's no escape of that, yet let's live on cause it still seems problematically the best. Now it's unpopular to show beliefs down one's throat, but in the end there is the emptiness of that message, or better said, the lukewarmness. Reading a nihilistic and sad book may hurt my sensitive ass that is whiny and bleachy enough to relate a character like this from but at least one feels some conviction and strength in that. The fanaticism of the death cultists. Or here it seems just to be in a safe middle. Being too fearful to deny nihilism, or better said to deny skepticism. The final dogma because even nihilism is too absolutist. Maybe stealing this idea from Logo, but I think I had it independently too, so I don't know. Fire Force may end with universal salvation, but only for the limited time, with a fake religion to Jordan Peterson away any sociological problems. Death Stranding may have you revive a baby, may have a metaphysically confirmed afterlife. It still has to say, no, humans will eventually die out, and that's just how it is, even if you already in the universe have magic technology that only needs 5 years to reach the goals of the Russian cosmos. Like they literally in lore have stuff that can reconstruct evolutionary paths to recover lost information, basically solving the problem of entropy on the scale of human history being fleeting. And other technology does sometime bullshit too. And even this book can only end with, yeah, logically speaking, it will end in death and with no other possible conclusion, But let's not think about it and be nice with each other in the moment. Even having the main girl going to several different religious institutions to pray, not wanting to commit beyond an utilitarian good. But I will. So yeah, sorry if this come out more negative than I wanted. It's actually a good book, but I just tried to write some review, make it kind of pretentious, but not really. Wrote most of this and actually all of this in one go, but after I had to do a break and came back, I lost the flow, and now, while recording, I realized that this is the best place to end it. But I will attach everything I wrote in that one. And I will just attach it in the description somewhere, probably as a file, as a link, because it probably is too long for the YouTube descriptions. But as I said, I would recommend it, even if I may sound it more negative than I wanted to. It was an interesting read, very readable too. Like you can just go chapter, they're not long. They all have these hooks, and as I said, at the end I enjoy a lot of pulp. So probably it's the best for me and maybe my audience. Even if, I guess, I'm a bit of Puritan, so I would say some stuff is questionable. Oh, and also, to connect this again to those iceberg videos, as in those I ignored the elephant of the room of the whole gender thing. So I did in this book, because, I don't know, I just found it funny to just ignore something like that. Or maybe because everyone's kinda sick of it. If you know, you know. I don't even wanna bring it up too much. So yeah, don't know what more to say. Sorry for the guy disappointed in the review, but it is what it is.